How do you create meaningful design for good money?
Wasn't that the question that I asked you?
But something tells me that you have the answer to this question. So what's challenging about creating good design for good money?
Oh, we could approach every word in this 5-6 word sentence.
What has been working well so far with that?
There are multiple things.
Ervin, if this was your final message on planet Earth, what message would you love to leave?
Something I'm saying over and over again. I know there's a lot of controversy about that. However, I'm a firm believer in that.
How do you create meaningful design for good money? Now that's the question. In this episode, I sit down with Ervins Gorlov, who is working between Latvia, China, and the Baltics. And Ervin shared his passion about quality over quantity and how his drive for excellence is currently shaping the startup landscape here in China. Now, if you're a tech enthusiast or you are a tech founder yourself, now this is an episode that would have a question that you are burdened to answer yourself. Now, how do you create a quality product offering for good money? Put your earphone on and enjoy. Welcome to the show, Ervin.
Hey, Dino. Thank you for having me here.
The thing is, I must make this public announcement. Ervin is one of my first classmates I'm having on this show, so I'm already expecting great rapport, and it's really a pleasure to be sharing your story. So take us back to the beginnings, Ervin. Where did this entrepreneurial spark come from? Where did it born? Like, when did you had this urge to step into this madness of wanting to start your own company and solve complex problems? Tell us about that.
Right. So I would say there are so many different kinds of people and different kinds of stories and different kinds of reasons that we could apply when deciding on what will we do in the future once we grow up. So in my case, I'm coming from, I'd say, pretty entrepreneurial family. So my father, my inspiration, he is running company since the year after my birth. So he has a company since 1994, right? And I must say I grew up in this entrepreneurial environment where I saw my father doing his stuff and mainly related to some heavy machinery. So he was involved into the construction industry, into preparing the pits, the construction pits for after to build a building on top of it. So he was involved in these heavy machinery works and everything. So first of all, my experience was that hard work pays off, because it was literally hard work that was absorbing on daily basis how my father was driving those big trucks and dealing with the like deliveries and whatever things. So whatever you need to prepare the pit for the construction. So yeah, that was the first thing. So the heavy thing and heavy work pays off in the end. Another thing, of course, is I'm coming from a small village, basically. I grew up in a village with, I'd say, no more than 200-300 people, and no one knows how many people are there now. Right.
That's the real small.
Right. So it's also, I would say, it's another like perspective that I saw and maybe experienced, is that having collaboration between landlords in terms of farming land. I mean, so you cannot have everything. For example, we never had any cows. We never had any milk source. So then we had to collaborate with some neighbors that were like having milking cows for gathering the milk. At the same time, we had horses. So we could do some land farming thing with a horse, because not everything back then in the 90s could be done with the machinery. Not only because I'm coming from a post-Soviet country in Latvia, so it was not so available, it was not so developed at the time, but also because sometimes when you have to dig the earth in a particular way, the heavy machinery can maybe spoil the earth and maybe the crops. So it was way smarter, and in that time maybe way more. It made more sense to have a horse to try to draw that block, not how we call it. I mean, to dig the earth, whatever thing. So we use the horse for that. So yeah, that's another perspective. So basically, going back to the basics, I would say it's something important. Also nowadays, when we talk about technology, I mean, at the end of the day, everything we create, or everything.
But before you even go there, I know that's interesting. There's something that you said that jumped out to me. Yeah, and it's really interesting that this is a topic that has been coming up over and over, that kids who have been born in an entrepreneurial home. Yeah, and I saw there's this trending term going around. How do you create entrepreneurial kids? Yeah, like how does entrepreneurial parents create entrepreneurial kids? And what I'm learning from you is that you're the entrepreneurial kids. If we gotta go based on the definition, what would you say is the best, how to say, advice or lessons you have took from your parents that you have consistently practiced as an entrepreneur today?
I would say it's hard to tell if this is the very one, the biggest one that I have in my mind that I keep coming back to on a daily basis. I couldn't say that's the best one because it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel it should be that way, and I'll get to the point. But at the same time, it's the one that works. And just to put it in one phrase, I think I mentioned that already, like just bypassing my story, that heavy work, it pays off. And the thing that I've learned that only the work you put an effort into, like, I mean, when you care about something, when you really struggle with something, then the results are good. And the thing that I don't like about this acknowledgement is that, I mean, come on, for us, for people, we're looking for some easier solutions. We look for some better solution that make our life easier. However, in my life, and also based on my experience and what I've observed how my parents go through the life, and I'd say they're successful people to me. Although, unfortunately, it always comes back to the hard work. I mean, I haven't had a single story also in my own experience. I'm just 30 years old now. And I haven't had a single sort of day when I would say, oh yeah, so that was an easy task. I got my fruits and they're so sweet and I like it and I enjoyed this life. Unfortunately, it never happened that way. So unfortunately, it's always hard work, some sweat, some struggles, some torn wrists or whatever, bleeding arms or something involved. But then the fruits are pretty sweet. So that's like the bittersweet acknowledgement that I have.
As you said that, you remind me of this story of, I'm not sure if it was Picasso or Michelangelo, because maybe you're familiar with the story. So one of them, this great artist, he's in a cafe and he's sketching this lady, right? And he took like 4 minutes to sketch her, and she noticed that he was sketching her. And she's like, oh, wow, that's so incredible. Yeah, you only took 4 minutes to do that? And he asked her, would you like to purchase it? And she said, of course, it looks so beautiful. And he said something like maybe say $4,000. And she's like, but you only took a few minutes to get that done. Why should I pay that amount of money? And he responded, yeah, I took 4 minutes to get this done. However, I took maybe 400 hours to learn how to do it in 4 minutes. And the reason why I share that story is because one thing I admired most about you as we were students is that you were very exceptional at the work that you do. And sometimes you'll get it done really fast, that it looks so easy. So trying to leverage that idea of, you said heavy work. How would you know when you're doing heavy work? What are the criteria, are the evidence that lets an entrepreneur, somebody who's solving a problem, know that they're doing heavy work? What does that look like for you?
That's a good one. Well, actually, I would say there are two ones. Like, one would be a pretty obvious one, exhaustion. When you feel exhausted, when you feel empty, so you have had a day when you gave it all to whatever you were doing that day, and then you go to bed and you sleep, you fall asleep instantly, like no thoughts in your mind, nothing. So you just know you had a very busy, heavy loaded and whatever day, and then that's how you feel about it. So I would say exhaustion. And the tricky thing about exhaustion is that it has like two perspectives. Again, the same as everything in the world has like two sides of the coin. On the one hand, exhaustion is a good thing because it does, to me, it does show that you really did something. Again, maybe because of my experience, because of the heavy works on the farm and everything. So there was never a day when you were not exhausted because you had to do like really physical stuff. On the other hand, exhaustion is also something that also may be an indicator that, well, maybe the things you're doing is not filling you back, meaning like you're giving more than getting back from it, right? So I would say it's a tricky thing, like when someone is trying to maybe align this my exhaustion thing as one of those indicators of having a good work or having had a good day, at work whatsoever, you must be careful not to misperceive this exhaustion with something that is not actually. So be very careful about that. And I don't have any special sauce. I myself, again, I'm pretty young, and I hope I'm younger than Michelangelo, because it's still like I still cannot do a drawing in 4 minutes and ask whatever $1,000 for that. I'm not there yet. So I still need to put some effort into whatever I do to ask those $400 in the end. So, but maybe one day, maybe in another 10 years, maybe I will reach the level of mastery of Michelangelo, maybe then. But yeah, so exhaustion. And another thing would be, but maybe that is the main thing, basically, yeah.
Yeah. You said something really interesting that have my mind. The word that literally jumps out to my mind was ikigai. Yeah, I'm not sure if you're familiar with this concept, but not even ikigai. The two things came to my mind was one, ikigai, the framework, and the other was fitness. Because you said it's work that gets you to exhaustion, and I usually like to use fitness as a model for a lot of things that I'm comparing it to. Because the work need to be a work that takes you to exhaustion, but it should give you back that type of energy, not something that drains you in the end. Is that what I'm hearing? That's what you said?
Totally. I would say this is a good example. Well, when you mentioned the fitness as a thing, so it's the same thing when you work out. The ideal strategy is to do how many pushes you can, and then an extra more. And then you feel like, oh, I've done it all. And then the next day or in a few days, you will see the results. Probably will have some pain, some muscle pain, for a few days. But then in a week or two or three, you will see how your muscles get more ripped or more shaped, and then it will pay back. So again, to me, exhaustion, the healthy exhaustion, which I hope I have this healthy, is the indicator of having had a good day. But let's guys be careful on that. So sometimes I know many.
I just wanted to clarify. Because at first when you start talking, I was like, okay, work until you're exhausted, where you just feel like to sleep. But you add the caveat to the end, and that's something I wanted to clarify to the listeners. And the reason why I mentioned ikigai is a really interesting framework that means your purpose for living. And the concept is, whenever you find your purpose for living, the more you do it, the more rewarding it feels. So it's like you got to find that thing where you can live in your purpose. So even though you're working super hard at it, you're getting that return and investment, at the end. It's not just you're working and then your soul is depleting from it. So that's a really interesting distinction to bring up. Now, what I want to do with this segment here is I want us to workshop current problem that you're right now facing. And what I'll be asking, I'll simply be acting as a mirror for you, and I'll just be asking some very powerful questions. And there's no right or wrong answer at the end. Maybe there'll be an insight that you would get, that the listeners would get as well. Would it be interesting to play?
Let's bring it on. Let's play.
Let's get it. Now, you decide what issue you want to work through, and I'll just start asking questions. And if there's a question I ask and you don't feel comfortable answering, you can just let me know, and we can just keep it flowing, okay?
Let's go.
Awesome. Now, let's say we had to have a truly extraordinary conversation today, Ervins. What would we need to work through right now?
Could you paraphrase? What do you mean? What should we do right now?
Yeah.
Can you say it again?
Let's say we had to have a truly extraordinary conversation on this show. Yeah, what is a challenge right now you're having, whether it's personally or professionally as a tech startup CEO, that you would love to work through right now?
Oh. The good thing about being me is that I wouldn't say I'm forgetful, but I'm very good at opening and closing several doors at the same time. So I never overexhaust myself with too many doors open. And one of my approaches is that every morning when I wake up, the very first 3 ideas I have in my mind, I work on them right away. So that's the 3 things I need to do for this day. Sometimes it happens that I miss some things, because sometimes it's just this thing doesn't pop up in your mind as the very first 3 things in the morning. So then sometimes I end up failing on maybe doing some things on that day. or I do some extra working hours because I still need to finalize some projects. So with this being said, I would say that's not exactly my problem. It's more a tool that I have. For me, it's like staying focused based on the level of urgency.
Let's pull things back. Let's pull things back. Let me just make sure I'm clear about what you're saying. So what you're saying, what I'm hearing is sometimes you'll open and close many doors at the same time. Yeah. And sometimes you'll have and as a result of doing that, when you plan your day, you usually focus on 3 things, sometimes which leads to you missing certain things getting done. Is that what I'm hearing?
Right.
Yeah. So the question is, and I want to challenge you here. What specifically would you say the problem is?
So let's open one of those doors, huh?
Yeah, let's open one of those doors.
All right, right. So, I mean, come on, entrepreneurs have so many problems. We have to.
Let's start with the smallest door. Let's start with the door that would create the most leverage. The one that creates the most leverage.
Well, as you said in the introduction part, that I'm looking forward to growing my team. So I'm looking forward to having 4 to 5, 6 to 7 to 8 people that I would like to work with and create great things together. So I would say that's my goal number 1. And I keep this door open all the time. So I'm keeping my eyes and all my senses I have when I spot a person that I'd like to have. So I'm on my shark mode on the way, like shark mode, hunting for some talented guys right now. So I would say that's a problem, but that's happening like on its own. So I'm trying to find the right guys because again, I am a graduate of the School of Management, so I have a master's degree in management.
And I'm a pull you back. I'm a pull you back there again. I'm a pull you back there again. I know that's important. Yeah. So the problem or the challenge of creating the team, what would you say would need to shift here for you if you got a 10x the pace at which you create the results that you want moving forward?
I would say I should adjust my approach. So one of the things that many entrepreneurs are, I would say, not failing exactly, but like maybe misunderstanding that entrepreneurship, unfortunately, based on the like pieces, like entrepreneurship is about making money, and for a team, you need to sustain a team in multiple ways. Yes, you need to have a good culture. Yes, you have to have a good relationship. But yes, you also need to give them something they need for daily things. So, I mean, more money, let's say. So again, having a social sort of type entrepreneurship is not always solving all your problems. And sometimes you need to go into that business money-making mood as well. So, I mean, again, that's something I'm learning right now. And that's something that I think that may help me as well. Because again, great people, they can be great for free. However, to sustain the greatness, you still need some extra things. And in this case, I would say maybe some extra money that sometimes helps. And that doesn't make anything worse for sure. So, I mean, more money, more opportunities anyway.
Interesting. This morning I had a conversation with another CEO and he was sharing a similar issue. I think you guys would maybe need to connect you both so you can even bounce ideas off of each other. And I'll share with you the context and see if let me know if anything comes up. So right now, he also is trying to find a team, and the issue that he presented with was twofold, right? And the first one was, how do I find the right talent? And then the next question was, how do I keep the right talent engaged? Yeah, so that was 2 separate problems. At first, he put it as one, and I realized, but wait, those are 2 different things, finding them and then keeping them engaged, because sometimes we can find the right people, but now we have them. How do we keep them engaged? You see a few things there that already answer his questions. I don't know if you maybe you're aware of it as I'm saying it. And the insight that he got at the end of the conversation was that instead of looking for talent who already have the skill, who require a lot of money, look for talent who is open to learning more with a growth mindset. And he was like, oh my gosh, why didn't I think of that? Because he looked back to when he was a kid. That's the mindset that he had, and he would have been willing to work for free just to learn. Yeah, so me sharing that with you, what's coming up?
Good things, because actually right now in my company, that's something we agreed upon with my co-founder, that once a week we will have a 4-hour paid session for our guys in whatever position they are. Because right now we are interacting with guys in social media, like promotion thing, and guys who are good at law, good at administrative stuff. But the thing that we come up with is that every week, once a week for 4 hours in the morning session, and it must be Friday now, we will have a 3D modeling, free like paid session when we will pay the employee to come and listen to a 4-hour long session where we will teach them how to use some open source modeling, 3D modeling software. And the thing that I got in my mind is coming back from the design thinking background, that whatever position you have in your company, doesn't matter what you do in the company. I mean, the creativity is something that can come up from the blue sky very often. And which many people would think it that way. However, actually creativity is something you can train for. So to be creative or to be innovative, it's a skill that you can train. It's a muscle. So the thing I got in my mind, and we are now doing that right now. So having these 4-hour sessions per week, when you do something that's maybe not even related to what you do in a daily life, what you do for the company on a daily basis, but to have this sort of team bonding experience where you can have some extra skill. And even though even if we cannot hold the person for a long time, as you also said about keeping the talent, it's still giving an extra thing for the person maybe to just explore on. And there are so many wonderful opportunities nowadays, such as like Blender or Unreal Engine. There's so many cool stuff you can do for free. And if you get lucky, or if you get persistent enough and a little bit lucky, then you can even make a portion of that. Or maybe come back to the same company you just were employed by and just do some extra work in the design thing, because we are a design company in the first place.
So what I'm hearing right now, the solution that you're currently implementing is having these 4-hour session where you'll is this potential employee or already employees?
Yeah, exactly. Where we just educate them, give them some hints about something maybe you're not even good at right now.
And what has been working well so far with that? What's working well?
There are multiple things. Let's say, again, running a company in a foreign country, you have to have some extra ways how you bond with the team. So I would say one good thing is about the bonding, the bonding experience, because you have some extra problems which are not related to, let's say, the paid problems, because sometimes, I mean, ideally, entrepreneurs, they hire people who are better than them at something specific. Let's say, better at Chinese law.
Well, I don't mean to stop you here. I don't mean to stop you, but I want to pull things back just a little bit. That's important. Yeah. I want to know what's been working for you personally, because I know sometimes a lot of time people would say you, but I want to say what's been working for Ervin. How's that been working for you? Like, what's the what's been working well for Ervin?
We are adding an extra language that we can communicate in, because now in the company we speak mostly English. So some Chinese, maybe some Russian, maybe some Spanish whatsoever. However, introducing a new language, which is a visual language, it's 3D language. It's a new language that we can communicate in. It brings on the table some new shortcuts. Very often when I say something, I speak in shortcuts from design, whatever, Photoshop or Illustrator or something based, align things. So there are so many things, many functions you can use in that program, in the software, that you can actually implement in new life as well. So, and I would say that speeds up and improves the communication in the first place. So it doesn't matter what you do in your daily work, but once we meet and we have an extra language in common, which is 3D software language, that we can execute and just get better along. And I can see that clearly that helps. And these extra 4 hours, they basically they are worth it for sure. And then who knows, maybe in a few more months, we have discussed that already. So we may maybe introduce a shorter working week, because in many countries in Europe, they already do that. So Sweden, they have in many positions, they have like 4 hour or 4 day working week. So which means we're like trying, exploring these opportunities at the same time, maybe not allowing my guys to get maybe a little bit too lazy as well, because there is a catch, because very many people, and also based on my like, small experience, children, youngsters, we are looking for doing things the easy way, the fast way. And what I said in the very beginning of this conversation, that unfortunately I've learned that the hard way, more often than not, is bringing the sweetest fruits in the end. So not to maybe let the leash to not to over release. I know what's the term. I mean, not to have the leash still somewhere around, so we still know that we still belong to each other in a special way, in a community forming way, so we don't get maybe too lost in the freedom. These sort of ways, having
just to pull things back again. Now, what I'm curious about here, what's not working well with that approach for you? What do you think is not working well?
I don't think it's not working. I think it's working. It's just in the very beginning. So far we had just a couple of weeks of that experience. I would say we're just in the very beginning of this road. I don't see how it's not working. I really do see the language, the extra language, introduction of this extra language on a daily communication like level. I think it's a very worthy thing. So I disagree it's not working yet. Maybe let's talk in half a year. So I will give it a try for a few more months, and then we can tell you something more. But so far, it's good.
So let me check it. I want to make sure that I have clarity, right? What specifically would you say is the problem we are working through? Is it that to find the right people or to keep the right people? Just to reclarify.
Oh, okay. So coming back to the example you introduced before, finding and I'm a long-term strategist. I don't live just today. So even before I found the one or the few ones that I need more, even before that, I really have to, and I'm already thinking about keeping them, because I mean, finding good people, I don't think it's a big trouble. It's not a problem at all, I'd say, because there are many people. And
so let's put a real issue that we can work through on the table. Yeah, so that way we can really get to something solid. So if we had to work through an issue that you find challenging right now, because there's many issues that startup founders find challenging. However, if there was a real issue that you find challenging right now, what would be an issue that you can work through?
Let's maybe try and switch the approaches. So from the community to the business model. Let's talk about business model maybe. I would say in design industry, that's not like problem I have, is that it's very hard to quantify things, because as you mentioned, Michelangelo, he can draw a special woman on a special day, and then it's a special picture, but still you have to input some part of your soul. It's very hard. At that time, it was very hard for him to replicate the same picture over and over again, because they had no copying machines or no digital machine, production machines. So, and nowadays, although we have all these new machinery, it's still very often, if you want to have create a meaningful experience for your client, you have to input a lot of time into that. So I would say maybe another challenge I'm experiencing right now is related to responsibly quantifying something so we can make more money with less work. That would be another thing. But as a person in design industry, it's pretty hard to be achieved. Although we have AI solutions now and so on and so forth. However, the thing I'm missing is the meaningful.
I want to challenge you here. And this is gonna be fun. Yeah, it's gonna be a bit challenging, and it'll be gonna be fun. Would that be okay?
Bring it out.
Yeah. Now, there's a saying that if we get really clear about what the problem is, the solution becomes easy. So I want you to give me the specific problem in one sentence, and it should be at least 5 words or less. What would you say specifically is the challenge?
Yeah. Creating meaningful design. Yeah, creating meaningful design for good money.
Yeah. So the challenge is to create meaningful design for good
and get some good money. Yeah.
Now, yeah, and I love that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, one word off, we get that. That's a yeah, creating meaningful design for good money. And I think even for the listeners as well, I think the question that they can ask themselves is, creating great products or creating a good offering for good money. Yeah, so that can relate to even those who are listening. Now, the next question I'm going to follow up with is, okay, so the problem is creating meaningful design for good money. Yeah. What's challenging about that? What's challenging about creating good design for good money? What's the problem here?
Well, like we could approach every word in this like 5-6 word sentence. Meaningful is subjective. An example from my life. Friends of my family, they wanted to build a family house for themselves, and they found the constructor, and they told them, please build a house as if you are building the house for yourself. Like, build it as if you build it for yourself. But here is the catch. In the end, they got a very poor quality family house, but very cheap. So, but actually, what they wanted, they didn't care about the money. They want the best quality, so they don't have any troubles in the future. But when they told the guy, the contractor, they told them that please make it as if you do it for yourself. The contractor thought to himself, "Oh, I had to make it as cheap as possible because what would I do for myself?" And so there was a communication error. But my point is that for a meaningful something, people have different, different perspectives on what's meaningful.
Yeah.
So in this statement alone, there is a problem with the word meaningful already. So, I mean, what's meaningful? Some people need some high quantity thing, which they don't care about the quality. When others, hopefully, there are still people who need quality over quantity. But unfortunately, nowadays, and also in China, it's getting less and less common right now. So
now let me ask you this question. I think this is the most important question you may even answer in this discussion. How do you create meaningful design for good money?
Wasn't that the question that I asked you? So,
but something tells me that you have the answer to this question. How do you create meaningful design for good money? How do you do that? Knowing that meaningful is subjective, and the value of meaningful sometimes depends on the subject, and good money as well is a bit subjective and vague, depends on who's talking. So I'll ask you about the question. How do Ervins create meaningful design for good money?
Well, I have some secrets and some joker cards up under my sleeve, which I'm planning right now. So I should not maybe expose everything I got right now going on in this company here, just behind my back over here. However, if we stay on this same philosophical track, I mean, for something to become meaningful, it must be something that people care about. Because again, there are things that we care about, and then there are things that we don't. So the tricky thing is how we can make some good money with some meaningful design is just approaching things people care. And the easiest way is to care about the same thing. When the designer, in this case my company, cares about the same thing as my client or customer or user, or whatever product we have to offer, then we align better. So, I mean, just finding like-minded people with a similar values that care about similar things. And then it seems like this meaningfulness, it kind of solves itself in a way, because then you are on the same, maybe not on the same page yet, but at least in the same book or chapter. So that's already something.
Yeah. So let me repeat to you what you just said, and I think that's a goal. And those of you who are listening as well, if you have any insight, I want you to really comment on this thread, because this is golden right here. You said to care about the same things that your clients value. Yeah, so we're getting even deeper into their belief system. So the next big question I have for you, Ervins, would be, what do you believe would need to shift so that you can start caring even more about the things that your client care about and aligns your value with theirs? What would need to shift personally for you?
Oh, again, this is like multiple perspective question. Well, I'm a believer in the rules of gravity. I'm very much into the physics and everything. So I would say, again, coming back to the caring and meaningfulness, people attract people alike. In this case, companies attract companies alike, or companies attract customers alike. Again, I just close the circle again, coming back to the same thing of the care about what we care about. And then one of the ways how to generate gravity, or how to explore the gravity as such, is to become bigger. And then maybe coming back to the very first point I told you before. So maybe I think it this way: if I could attract more people also in the B level, like in the business level, company level, that would make more influence, more impact. That will have more influence and make some more impact. So because the rule of gravity works like G1, G2, and the biggest object attracts the smaller object. But once the objects become bigger and bigger, they do attract bigger objects again, like bigger other objects. So then the rule like works like, and then you have this game of attraction, traction, interaction, and whatsoever. So that will be another thing I'm thinking about. And that's why, coming back to the very first point I said, so growing the team is one of my goals right now, because I do feel like I have reached a point where my client base is as it is for whatever people I have employed here in China and back in Europe, in Latvia. It's about time to explore some bigger grounds and have this more impact and increase the gravity, the level of gravity, just to become more attractive.
Yeah,
Quite literally attractive.
I love your use.
Attracting things.
I love your use of metaphor, and the reason being, Will Fan recently made a post, and he said, I'm just paraphrasing, and if he's listening to this, he can even correct me. He said, and Will Fan is the CEO of oh my gosh, he's the CEO of, okay, I'll remember the name, New Campus. He's the CEO of New Campus, and he made a post, and he said that creating a company is not rocket science. Yeah, and he said all you need is a niche, folks that believes in your vision and aligns with your values, and a great offering. And then it really hit me when he said that, because I remember when I started, I was only thinking about my offering. I wasn't thinking about the people. Now we're having this conversation, and we're answering the question of how do we create a meaningful design, what is a meaningful service, product offering, and get big money for it. And the two things that jump out to me is to align yourself with people who has the same values and belief like yourself, and then this idea around gravity, where the bigger you are, the bigger clients that you can attract, and meaning scaling, and I had this insight around, when you niche, and some people may not like that word niche, but niche is simply, aligning yourself with people who has the same value, beliefs, and characteristics as yourself, and scaling that niche, you created more value for that group of people. Now, the question I have for you, Ervins, would be, what would be your next step? Knowing what you do now as a result of our conversation, what would be your next step?
Well, I'm taking these steps already, I'd say. I hope I am. I'm making some adjustments right now, because, again, as a company, I'm here in China for over 3 years, so it must be 4 years in January. So my company will be 4 years old in Hangzhou next year. And during this time, well, I've tried so many things. Also, on the one hand, because of my freelance approach, because I like solving problems, and I was taking many different projects in a wide range. Because as an educated architect, I can do different modeling things. I can do physical calculations. I can do some product design, packaging design, interior design, even building design without a license, though. And sometimes I don't do that. But I could if I would. So, and so on and so forth. But the thing that came back to me just again recently, and that's when I started changing things, is like going away from this freelancing approach and serving people to, as you mentioned, so finding that niche that I feel needed, I feel I have something to give, and I feel that there is a demand for that thing as well, and focusing on that. Because nothing can be more destructive as not your place.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I mean, I feel where I want to land for now for the next few years, and I'm feeling like I'm not going to move from that spot for a while, because I mean, for the next level of growth, I have explored so many things at my age of 30. So I'm thinking about like focusing on something more, and then I can always come back. I mean, come on, that's a matter of just making a few phone calls and whatsoever. And once you have some more, again, client base, maybe you have more people employed, or maybe you have some more people to share share both the benefits and also some responsibilities with. So then I can always come back to something that I tried and I did like. However, that would be a way smarter of me and a way more responsible towards myself and the company, of course, is that if we just decide on what we're good at, and then we just take the thing by storm.
And that's where it's interesting. Yeah, I'm really happy that you said that, because that's a problem that I've been struggling with for a while as well. And I know a lot of the listeners also have these problems as entrepreneurs. It's like, it's so universal until we actually go through the process and become aware that, this is where we need to focus now. We can always come back. Like I said, one of the things that really impressed me about you is how talented you are. And sometimes that could be a strength, but it could also be the things that is sabotaging our growth as entrepreneurs. So I'm really happy that you voiced that and put that into words. Now, we started this conversation around, creating a team and scaling, and then we went to the question of how do we create meaningful designs for good money? And that was like the basis for everything else. And then we had this insight around, aligning ourselves with clients who share our values and our beliefs, and the idea of gravity, meaning you need to scale so that you can attract even bigger fishes as clients. Now, my question to you just before we switch segments would be, what was the biggest insight you grabbed from our discussion?
I like interaction. And also when we discussed about the gravity and everything, so I said that attractiveness is something that I'm looking for as a visual person myself. And this discussion, I mean, it's very attractive from many perspectives. Just having a chance, having a reason to have half an hour or 45 minutes for discussing whatever you have in mind, and then taking some notes in your sheet of paper. I mean, that's worth a lot. So that's very attractive to me. So I would say that's the biggest thing I took away, because everything we just discussed, I mean, everything is already there. It's somewhere. So it's just a matter of putting these things down somewhere on the paper. Maybe some people like just to write them down. Maybe some people just like think about that. I do prefer writing them down. So just having this 40, 30, whatever minutes of time talking to you and having this reason of putting things down finally, I mean, that's very attractive. So yeah, thank you for that. Thank you for being attractive, Dino.
Now, what I want to do here, I'm going to fire you with some quick fire questions. Yeah, and this is this or that, and you can choose one. You can't give me any explanation. You got to only choose one. Okay, are you ready for this?
Yeah, shoot.
Okay, so the first one is morning person or night owl?
I'm a night owl for sure.
Ideal or economic?
Oh, okay.
No explanation. Either or.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Idea that okay.
I like to think. Let's think. Let's think.
Lead by data or gut feeling.
Oh, that's a hard one. I follow. I look for the data, and the gut comes next. Just after the data. Data first.
Okay, so lead by data. Introvert or extrovert?
Should I like what I'm attracted?
This or that, or this or that. No rule breaking. No rule breaking. Introvert or extrovert?
Extrovert. I like attracting. Yeah.
Delegate or do it yourself?
Oh, damn it. That's my weakness. That's my. I think that's one of the weaknesses. And you highlight that, but that's execute myself.
Delegate or do it yourself. Which is it?
So I'm doing myself things. Yeah. Unfortunately, think yourself.
Think big or start small.
You can do both. Come on. You can think big, but you start with the first step. So
these visionary CEOs, you can't put them in box. Come on, think bigger, start small. This or that. No rule workings today. You can go on LinkedIn and share your thoughts after. That's okay. Okay, go on LinkedIn, share your thoughts after this or that. Think bigger, start small.
Okay. So I'm a responsible person, so I will take a small step.
Okay. Angel investor or VC funding?
Ooh. Angel investor. I think you have more in common with the person. So you
Mac or PC?
like family like
Mac or PC?
Nah.
Mac or PC?
BC every day.
You get
Never had a yeah, BC.
Coffee or tea?
Before last year, I'd say tea, and I do enjoy Longjingcha and Hangzhou. It's a very good green tea. But since the last year, I'm very much into the coffee. So today, right now, coffee for you and for me.
Office or remote work?
Whoa, I am old-fashioned. Office for me. However, I do approve home work as well.
Thank you so much for your insight and really being open and vulnerable to really engage in this discussion. Ervin, if this was your final message on planet Earth, immediately after you go off this session, what message would you love to leave to the listeners, whether they're aspiring tech entrepreneurs or they're already long in the game? What would be your final message?
Whoa, damn. That's something I'm saying over and over again, that guys, I know there's a lot of controversy about that. However, I'm a firm believer in that. The most important thing in whatever you do or you think about or whatever I do, so I will speak on behalf of myself. Please follow the context. Like, be within the context. Don't lose the context. Like, to me personally, context is everything. Whatever you find, if you look for some solutions or some problems, or if you judge someone for misbehaving or whatever, never do that just because of whatever, the gut feeling or something. I am a firm believer in the context. So please keep your eyes open, ears open, senses, all whatever. How many senses we have? 6, 7, 8 in different levels. Please interact with the context. And then make the most you can out of it. Don't fly away. Please stay here. Stay with us. Enjoy the people around you, the environment around you, and work with it, because that's all we got. The context is there just for us. Let's communicate well. Let's talk.
Awesome. Thank you so much. This is Ervins, and he has just left his message to you. Where can everybody who's listening, whether they're investor, another partner, CEO, or tech startup, can get connected with Ervin and learn more about your work?
I'm in Hangzhou. Whenever you come to Hangzhou, the Yukon district, come over. I'll be happy to see you here. And of course, you can find me online. You can find my personal accounts on all the social media. I usually go with my family name, which is Ervins.Gorelops or
I don't know how you had that, bro.
Yeah. I was told for a long time I didn't like my family name, but actually when you speak it in English or when you speak it in some like in different languages, it sounds so good. So I think to my own name right now. So I think there were some designers who also told having the message that the most powerful brand is your name. So again, maybe because I'm aging or something, and I'm starting to believe in that. So you don't have to be ashamed of your name or family name. It's vice versa. It's something that you are, and then you can just make it better. And then it's up to you how good it becomes in the end. So that's up to you, and the context, of course. So yeah,
Awesome.
And of
Awesome.
course,
Thank you so much. Go ahead.
Yeah. The corporate also has a webpage, and it's going to be launched maybe as soon as next week. So maybe by the time when this podcast is online, so you'll be able to follow it up. So it's lando.design. So that's where you can see more design works and maybe also learn more what the company does besides design. Because we do stuff.
Awesome. I'll put everything in the description notes that everybody can go and search for the exact spelling. Thank you so much, Ervins, for your time. And I know that you're a very busy man, so it's an honor to have you on the show. Yeah, let's keep getting it.
Thank you for having me, and let's stay connected, all of us.
You've heard the stories and strategies of today's top tech CEOs. But where do you fit in? What's your unique superpower as a founder? Now take our free CEO type quiz to unlock your leadership blueprint and gain insights to maximize your potential. Now go to levelupwithdino.com and take just 3 minutes to complete this quiz. Instantly receive a detailed report revealing your CEO type along with a personalized 3-phase plan for achieving abundance and freedom on your term. Are you a visionary, a driver, an analyst, community builder, or self-improver? Take the quiz now and own your entrepreneurial journey. Discover what makes you tick as a founder and learn to lead from your sweet spot for success. That's www.levelupwithdino.com. Spelling matters. Make sure you get it right. Take the quiz and start leading on your term, your way. This is your key to freedom, and go and get it. levelupwithdino.com.